Okay, so Caroline's going to show how to make some cordage, or how you can make cordage using some plants. What I'm showing you here are leaves of a plant that you guys might know of called Yucca plant. Another name for it is soapweed. And you can find it growing around Missouri, and it's plants like this that make good cordage or string or rope. People don't think much about what you need to live off the land, and cordage is one of the big things, because how do you live if you don't have something to tie stuff together with? You can see on the edges of it that it's got some strands sticking off. It's got the same kind of threads running through it that something like celery would have. So if you can think about what celery is like when you eat it, it's not that unlike this. So here you go, hold that for me. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try something called a reverse twist. So we just took a full leaf like this one, and then we cut it. And we cut it to get sizes that we wanted to work with, and the size that I decided would be best to work with is this size right here. So what we're gonna do, Caroline, stick your finger out there, hold it up like this, like a hook, all right? This is called a reverse twist. So for a reverse twist, I'm gonna twist this stuff one way. So I'm gonna twist it to the right, or what's known as clockwise, and then I'm gonna bring it over to the left, which is counterclockwise. And each time I'm gonna use my right hand to spin it to the right or clockwise. And then when I take it to the left, it's going to be trying to spin the opposite way. So the twist of one, stand back so you're keeping pressure on it. The twist of one fights the twist of the other, and as a result, when we're done with it, the cordage should remain kind of there looking like a rope, even though it's been spun together. When you get quick at this, you can make the cordage relatively quickly. The hardest thing to do is get really long cords. Now, Native Americans could use several plants for this. It's said that milkweed could make strings that were as smooth and soft as silk. The one we're using here is something that would be used for more rugged uses, like tying together stakes to make something like a jerky hanging area so you could cause meats to dry out, or to tie together the poles of something like a teepee. So that's the kind of cordage you'd be making here. You can see the size of it isn't real big around. And the hardest part to do is to make it longer by adding other cordage to it. So what I mean is, when we get out here and I start to run out of material, the hardest thing to do is to start to spin on a new strand so that it wants to stay together. So I've got one side right now that's starting to get too thin to keep the cordage kind of equal in its diameter. One strand's getting a little thinner. So this is where the hard part comes in. I take another strand and I lay it along there, and I start to twist it in as well. Now, it's not going to work until I get it locked into the other strand, but here in a minute, it will work. So, and then they could just keep adding pieces like that until they had the length of rope that they wanted. Now, again, this is one of the things that people don't realize. You would need a lot of rope if you were in a survival situation, but where do you get it? Well, like everything else for Native Americans, it came from nature. They knew which ones to use and how to use it. So again, with my hand, I'm spinning each individual strand to the right or clockwise, but I fold it over the other one to the left, and here in a minute, it'll make sense why we're doing that. So just each time I get it with my right hand, my right hand is spinning it to the right, then we fold it over the other strand going to the left. Now I'm almost out of my first strand on one hand, back up so we keep tension on it. And families would sit around and do this. Just if you had spare time, you were going to take it up by sitting around with your family. And this would be a good thing for anybody in the family to do. Now notice, this is the side that's short, and this is the one that's long, because now I've got these two strands combined. So I can put another one with this. I'm going to lay it over the top, and I'm going to pinch it here, and I'm going to start to spin it up with this strand. And then when I fold it over, I'm going to end up getting it locked into the rope. A little further away, Caroline.
Okay.
Perfect. Spin to the right.
Wait.
Fold over to the left. I'm spinning it to the right and folding it over to the left. Now we're going to take this off in just a second and check its strength just to see. Okay, Caroline, can you get your finger out of there now?
Hopefully.
Okay, so notice that it didn't try to unravel even though we twisted it up. Normally something that's twisted up wants to turn into a knot. It doesn't because we spun one way, we spun the pair of them together the other way. Caroline, can you pull on that end? Pull on it, see how strong it is. Pull harder, come on. Pull harder. So is it strong cord?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
I can't.
All right, go ahead and turn it off for now.